want to celebrate this event because this event, which is going to happen, I'm sure, every year, is going to be about how can we support the doers. And many people in this room are actually doing something about medical illness.
No, I love that. And it really speaks to the fact that for so many of us, that's what makes healthcare different. And same with healthcare investing. The margins are really low, right? Really hard. We see people come into healthcare and then quickly kind of leave. But I think so much of it, it's just a mission. And I think that makes everything that much stronger. Becca, to get back to your question, I think it was sort of around return on investment. One of the things that we're really coach our companies on is just the criticality of making it really clear what return you're bringing for your consumer. In healthcare, a lot of the C-suite and very seasoned executives have a lot of things that they're dealing with every day in terms of whether it's increasing the amount of revenue to their system, launching new programs in the surgical space, wherever it may be. And you have to make sure that you're bringing that added value to them. Sometimes those incentives cannot be a good thing, right? So one of the things I'll sometimes hear from our founders is like, I came up with this great new tech and I pitched it to the hospital and they were like, well, why would I buy that? That's going to keep people out of my hospital. And like, that just makes me, want to cry. I love your story, Sufyan, because I was thinking as you were talking about it, what is your incentive in this case? And I was actually going to bring up these virtual telehealth opioid and addiction treatment platforms are incredible. And they're partnering with primary care. We're kind of following that market really closely because there's so much opportunity there. I'm just thinking to myself, what made you do the right thing in supporting a virtual, which has theoretically a lower reimbursement? There's no reimbursement for you when that patient gets that treatment at their home, right? That's not then having them use your vehicles. What is it that made it? Because that's the return on investment. And that's kind of that value-based care mentality. We're making it easy and more cost-effective to do the right thing, but someone needs to win from this.
It really just begins with being more ethical stewards of money. And that's what's missing in the healthcare industry. When you have over $4.5 trillion being spent and tens of millions of people who can't get coverage, the numbers don't make sense. It's very difficult to Max's point. Then you want to have a healthy lifestyle. I don't think you should pursue entrepreneurship unless you do it for 3 months and then you just say you did. But if you're going to do it for decades or if you're going to make a career out of it, it's very difficult. And I grew up on Medicaid. And so I remember growing up, I'm from Jamaica, Queens, so it was like murder capital of America in the 90s, and my life was very different. But when we needed a ride, you just call 911 and you went to your local, right? And you didn't pay for it. But we had no idea the cost that the health plan incurred from that, not educating that market. But then when you look at, in hindsight, we're like, why did that happen? Why weren't we educated to take these non-emergency rides in the 90s or 2000s? Well, that program existed, except you have health plans who broker this out on a capitated basis to third-party vendors who are incentivized to make this program opaque so people don't know about it, right? So they drive down utilization deliberately. So that's what's wrong. If you don't have good financial stewards doing this stuff, this will never change. So that's what the reason I didn't give up at times when it made sense to walk away year after year during COVID or when SVB crashed or with the current administration's clamp down on Medicaid. I was on the other side, all right? And I think there's a moral and ethical obligation to do this. So if you put that before money, I think naturally you'll see a lot of things happen. And on the capitated basis, by the way, we'll make more money doing this by, triaging and I got too excited.
I think so. So I think the moral of the story is before we wrap, and we must wrap, but passion. These folks are passionate. They want to change healthcare. They're doing it in modality, different ways that all touch someone's lives, whether someone knows in the background that they're driving it or not.